Hello everyone, this is Minister William, or Reverend Will if you wish, and this is the sermon for March 13th, 2022, and as always, we will start today with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, or what have you. Thank you. Since Thursday is St. Patrick's Day, Friday St. Patrick's Day, Thursday St. Patrick's Day, as always, I have the history of St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated annually on March 17th, the anniversary of his death in the 5th century. The Irish have observed this day as a religious holiday for over 1,000 years. On St. Patrick's Day, which falls during the Christian season of Lent, Irish families would traditionally attend church in the morning and celebrate in the afternoon. Lenten prohibition against the consumption of meat were waived, and people would dance, drink, and feast on the traditional meal of Irish bacon and cabbage. Who was St. Patrick? St. Patrick, who lived during the 5th century, is the patron saint of Ireland and its traditional apostle. Born in Roman Britain, he was kidnapped and brought to Ireland as a slave at the age of 16. He later escaped but returned to Ireland and was credited with bringing Christianity to his people. In the centuries following Patrick's death, believed to have been on March 17, 461, mythology surrounding his life became ever more ingrained in the Irish culture. Perhaps the most well-known legend of St. Patrick is that he explained the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, using 3 leaves of an Irish clover, native Irish clover, the shamrock. When was the first St. Patrick's Day? Since around 9th or 10th century, people of Ireland have been observing the Roman Catholic feast of St. Patrick on March 17th. The first St. Patrick's Day parade took place not in Ireland, but in America. Records show that St. Patrick's Day parade was held on March 17, 1601, in the Spanish colony of what is now St. Augustine, Florida. The parade and a St. Patrick's Day celebration a year earlier was organized by the Spanish colony's Irish vicar, Ricardo Alter. More than a century later, homesick Irish soldiers serving in the English military marched in New York City on March 17, 1772, to honor the Irish patron saint. Enthusiasm for St. Patrick's Day parades in New York City, Boston, and other early American cities only grew from there. St. Patrick's Day. The growth of St. Patrick's Day. Over the next 35 years, Irish patriotism among American immigrants flourished, prompting the rise of the so-called Irish Aid. Societies like the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick and the Hibernian Society, each group would hold an annual parades featuring bagpipes, which actually first became popular in the Scottish and British armies and drums. In 1848, several New York Irish Aid societies decided to unite their parades to form one official New York City St. Patrick's Day parade. Today, that parade is the world's largest, oldest civilian parade and the largest in the United States, with over 15 150,000 participants. Each year, nearly 3 million people line the 1.5-mile parade route to watch the procession, which takes more than 5 hours. Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Savannah also celebrate the day with parades involving between 10,000 and 20,000 participants each. In 2020, the New York City Parade was one of the first major city events to be canceled as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. It was again canceled in 2021. Irish in America. Up until the mid-19th century, most Irish immigrants in America were members of the Protestant middle class. When the Great Potato Famine hit in Ireland in 1845, close to 1 million poor and uneducated Irish Catholics began pouring into America to escape starvation. Dispensed for their alien religious beliefs, despised for their alien religious beliefs and unfamiliar accents by American Protestant majority, the immigrants had trouble finding even menial jobs. When Irish Americans in the counties, cities took to the streets on St. Patrick's Day to celebrate their heritage, newspapers portrayed them in cartoons as drunk, violent monkeys. American Irish soon began to realize, however, that their large and growing numbers endowed them with a political power that had yet to be exploited. They started to organize, and their voting bloc, known as the Green Machine, became an important swing vote for political hopefuls. Suddenly, annual St. Patrick's Day parades became a show of strength for Irish Americans, as well as a must-attended event for a slew of political candidates. In 1948, President Harry S. Truman attended New York City's St. Patrick's Day Parade, a proud moment for many Irish Americans whose ancestors had to fight stereotypes and racial prejudice to find acceptance in the New World. The Chicago River dyed green. As Irish immigrants spread out over the United States, other cities developed their own traditions. One of these is the Chicago's annual dyeing of the Chicago River green. The practice started in 1962 when the city pollution control workers used dyes to trace illegal sewage discharges and realized that the green dye might provide a unique way to celebrate the holiday. That year, they released 100 pounds of green vegetable dye into the river, enough to keep it green for a week. Today, in order to minimize environmental damage, only 40 pounds of dye are used, and the river turns green for only several hours. Although Chicago historians claim the city's idea for a river of green was original, some natives of Savannah, Georgia, those St. Patrick's Day parades, the oldest in the nation, date back to 1813, believe the idea originated in their town. They point out that in 1961, a hotel restaurant manager named Tom Woolley convinced the city officials to dye Savannah's river green. The experiment didn't exactly work as planned, and the water only took on a slight greenish hue. Savannah never attempted to dye its river again, but Woolley maintains, though others refute the claim, that he personally suggested the idea to Chicago's mayor, Richard J. Daley. St. Patrick's Day celebration around the world. Today, people of all backgrounds celebrate St. Patrick's Day, especially throughout the United States, Canada, and Australia. Although North America is home of the largest production, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated all around the world. In locations far from Ireland, including Japan, Singapore, and Russia. Popular St. Patrick's Day recipes include Irish soda bread, corned beef and cabbage, and champ. In the United States, people often wear green on St. Patrick's Day. In modern-day Ireland, St. Patrick's Day has traditionally been a religious occasion. In fact, up until the 1970s, Irish laws mandated that pubs be closed on March 17. Beginning in 1995, however, the Irish government began a national campaign to use interest in St. Patrick's Day to drive tourism and showcase Ireland and Irish culture to the rest of the world. What do leprechauns have to do with St. Patrick's Day? One icon of the Irish holiday is the leprechaun. The original Irish name for these figures of folklore is, I'm going to butcher it, sorry, Lobarkin, meaning small-bodied fellow. Belief in leprechauns probably stemmed from Celtic belief in fairies, tiny men and women who could use their magical powers to serve good or evil. In Celtic folklore, leprechauns were cranky souls responsible for mending shoes of other fairies. Though only minor figures in Celtic folklore, leprechauns were known for their trickery, which they often used to protect their much-fabled treasure. Leprechauns have their own holiday on May 13th, but are also celebrated on St. Patrick's, with many dressing up as the wily fairies. Well, since St. Patrick's Day is the 17th, which is in a few days, and I think, as I said, on Thursday, I hope you all have a safe and fun St. Patrick's Day, and I will see you here next week. And remember, when we all come together, the possibilities are endless. Have a good night, everyone.